Rare Gem Productions proudly presents Entrepreneurially Thinking. Entrepreneurially Thinking is a presentation of BioSTL and CET, the Center for Emerging Technologies, changing the way you view new ventures and activating your entrepreneurial mindset, empowering you to create new pathways for business success in the St. Louis marketplace and beyond. Here's your hosts, Cheryl and Christy. Now let's get thinking entrepreneurially.
Welcome back to the Entrepreneurially Thinking Podcast. I'm Christy Maxfield.
I'm Dr. Cheryl Watkins-Moore. I lead our STEM inclusion initiative here with BioSTL and happy to be back.
Me too. You know, we record about 13 shows at a time and then we take a little break in between, and spring break has just sprung here in St. Louis, which is pretty much the entire month of March.
Exactly.
So we're back to having a good rhythm and
back to Clarendon for me.
Back to Clarendon. And back to looking forward to spring and summer. So we're really glad you all are back with us and listening. And we're thrilled that our sponsors, CET and BioSTL, have continued their support of the podcast.
Yes.
You know, we've been real vocal. To say about wanting you to help us spread the word and spread the word about our sponsors, spread the word about the Entrepreneurially Thinking Podcast, help us get more plays and downloads so that more people know what's going on. We've got to reach more folks.
And I just wanted to say, I've been bumping into some folks in the ecosystem, new people that I hadn't met. And they've been saying that they've been listening to the podcast. So
that's great news. We want more anecdotal evidence.
Yes.
And we want more metrics showing us so that we can hopefully encourage a few other folks to sponsor the podcast as well and keep coming to you on the regular. So help us spread the word with the hashtag ETHINKSTL, eThink Podcast. Stay listening. Find us on iTunes, Spreaker, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever you find your favorite podcast.
Anywhere you are, we want to be.
We do. Where are we today?
So y'all know I always love to start off with a little bit of, fact and not fiction. So studies show that 69%, why not 70? I don't know. But
well, 69%, close to 70.
Right.
Round up. You like to round up. I know you.
I'm a marketer, right?
You are.
69% of Americans own at least one animal. Christy, you have already broken that mold.
Yeah, I got 2. I'm trying to get talked into having a third again. I don't know.
Yes. And 90% of these pet owners consider their furry friend a member of the family.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes. I had a little one and he got ill and we had to put him down, but he was like a member. He was a member of our family.
Totally.
So as a member of the family, it would make sense that we would buy our pets things that not only make their lives easier, but to also make our lives easier,
for sure.
Right?
Automatic feeder, anybody? Automatic feeder, yes.
No, automatic, let them out the door and go walk themselves and come home. That's what I would love.
Automatic everything.
The Brushless Paw Wash does just that. Wow, this is going to be cool. Our guest today earned the title of Inventor at the ripe, young age of 12 years old.
Yep.
So as it's been told, but here's a little snippet. On a damp autumn day, 6th grader Katie Petty cringed at the sight of her dog running through the house, paws full of mud. I can't believe it was just Katie doing it.
Yeah, I'm sure mom and dad and anybody else who knew they'd have to clean it up
was doing that too. So what came next is an idea that would make the lives of so many others so much better. Less mess? How so? Stay listening.
CET, the Center for Emerging Technologies, is a proud founding sponsor of the Entrepreneurially Thinking Podcast. We want you to know about all the great resources they provide, including the Square One Ignite and Bootcamp programs, as well as the online startup toolkit. The toolkit has videos, articles, and other materials to help you build your business. For more information about CET's programs, visit CETSTL.com. And for your renewed and continued support, CET, we say thank you.
My name is Katie Petty, and I am the president of Wild Heart. And entrepreneurial thinking means to me staying dedicated to what you believe in and always pushing through barriers.
Joining us today is Katie Petty, president of Wild Heart and inventor of the Brushless Paw Wash. As Cheryl mentioned, it was way back in 2002 when Katie came up with the idea for this invention. She used her 6th grade science fair as a way to test and prototype, beta, proof of concept. And then after a wave of rave reviews, Katie developed and patented the Brushless Paw Wash.
I'm still in the year 2002, and she was in 6th grade. I won't even say how old.
We're not doing that math. But fast forward.
That's amazing.
Fast forward to 2019.
She was doing this.
She's now the president of her company.
Right.
And she has not only the Brushless Paw Wash, but a whole other expanded line of products for pets. So, Katie, thank you for being with us today.
For having me on today.
We are so excited. So, we didn't do the math, so we don't know how old you are now, but you're older than 12.
I'm 29 in May now.
Oh, my goodness.
Jeez, I wish I were 29 again.
Last year of the 20s, so.
Hey, my 30s treated me really, really well, and now my 40s have just started to hit their stride. So, it's only up from here.
It is.
Okay, good. Good news.
I mean, you've done a lot more than both of us did in our 20s. Except, of course, she was becoming a doctor. So, maybe just me. You did more than me in your 20s.
You were having fun. So tell us, this sounds really cool.
Yeah, tell us the backstory.
Yeah, of course. So, you guys did such a great job. I was 12 years old. I had the daily chore, and yes, it was me. I was the only one that had to clean the dog.
She was like, damn, my chore just got harder.
Right.
Exactly, because I was the one that wanted the dog. Well, my sister and I, so basically my parents were like, okay, you guys want the dog, so you guys
take care of
it.
it.
Yeah, exactly. So it was a daily chore because I grew up out in Lewisburg, Kansas, so it's out in the country, so we'd always just let her out and she'd always go in the pond. So
Lots
it wasn't
of mud.
Rainy days, it was every day.
Oh, no matter the season.
You just get covered, and I just got tired of having to take a hose. We had a hose out back and some tubs and bowls and beach towels and brushes and just everything. And I thought, well...
And I'm sure your dog just loved that whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
No, yeah. One held her, and then one had to, spray her down.
Right.
It's a doggy car wash.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to have to figure out something to fix this. So I actually started with PVC pipe and kind of developed up from there. And you go through so many steps from PVC pipe to polycarbonate plastic, but there's many years and experiments and mess up in between all that as well.
So describe this using the pipe. What was the pipe used for?
So it's very similar to what it was. It's just, now it's an hourglass shape, but I just had the pipe. I bought a cap for it and glued it on the bottom. And the main premise of the whole product is using suction to pull the dirt and the mud off the paw. And that's basically how it works. I've tried it. When developing it, I tried adding brushes, and they weren't cleaning any better. And then you had to worry about how you're going to remove them and replace them. And then people were like, well, they're going to hold bacteria and mold. And it didn't work any better. So I was like, I'm just not going to bother with something it appears like it might work better, but it never did. So I just kept it with its simple shape, except I made it more narrow in the center to create a better suction to help pull the dirt and the mud off. So basically it's like a fake weight. Talk
me through it. So the dog, you guide the dog's paw into the
canister.
Into a canister.
Yeah, so you'll fill it with water and pet shampoo that's safe for the dog. Some people will ask me, is the soap safe? And for me, it's like, if it's safe on your dog, you read the label, and I guess if it's safe, I was like, I can't pop out and let you know exactly if it is, but as long as it's a pet safe and friendly shampoo, then it should be completely fine if they lick it or anything.
So you put their paw into the canister, and then it suctions off and gets rid of the dirt, the mud, everything else, right?
Exactly, yeah, and it'll even get the clay. Where I grew up, it had that thick, muddy clay that would get pads and nails, and it would actually pull all of that off as well. And you basically shake it up and down the product. So you don't actually take the leg and shake it. You put it on the leg and shake the product up and down, as in a shake weight.
Yeah,
People to a golf ball cleaner too.
So it looks like, for our listeners, if you can think about a canister,
or even almost like a water bottle, but that has an hourglass shape to it. It's about that size, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's about a foot tall for the large. We have a large and a smaller, but it's about a foot tall. So it's about a little bigger than a water bottle, but same thing.
Awesome.
Very
so
cool.
Now for years you've been refining this. You said where you grew up and out in Kansas. You're still out in Kansas, right?
I am. Well, technically, I'm right on state line. So I live in Missouri, and then about 1 mile, and my office is in Kansas. So
Awesome.
Wow.
You're a bi-state kind of gal.
Yeah, so I'm both. I go back and forth daily.
That's awesome.
So you lived out in the country, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. Give us a little backstory about your family and your siblings.
Are you the first entrepreneur,
Yeah.
or have you got this running in your veins?
I'm the first inventor, but not entrepreneur. My dad started his own business. My grandparents started their own bakery. And so, yeah, there's been a lot of entrepreneurialism. And my grandpa was actually the state senator of Kansas for about 25 years.
Ah.
All been kind of pretty headstrong and want to do our own thing. And my uncle owned a bakery as well. We all it's in my blood to do my own thing.
Yeah.
That's really cool. So, but at age 12, you probably couldn't foresee that age 29 you'd be running a company based on this invention. And if I understand correctly, you had some twists and turns along the way, not just in product development, but in patent infringement and all sorts of other things that came your way. What were you up against as a young inventor?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I would say a lot. Originally, like you said, I invented it and I thought maybe I will license it or sell it. Well, I didn't know those terms, of course. Well, but I thought, maybe I will find somebody that would purchase it and run it because it costs a lot of money to start. And my parents already own their own company. And being 12, I don't have any finances to start a business. So I was so blessed to have my parents believe in me. My dad said he had inventions and no one ever told him to pursue it. So he was not going to let that happen. So he really guided me to do it. So my parents, I owe it all to them.
Oh,
really.
okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was there a time you didn't think you could do it, where you were running up against things? I mean, the finances are an obvious one, but were there other challenges that made you think, wow, this just isn't going to come to fruition?
Definitely. As I developed, I was still in school, so it was more of a hobby. You sold online kind of as if you had an Etsy site, or just kind of sold to make, trying to bring in income or something. But then it started picking up, and I traveled to a lot of the shows. So I graduated college and I worked in video production for 5 years, and I saved money. And then eventually it got to the point where I needed to do it full time and not be able to just do it early in the mornings and then late afternoons and evenings.
So that's real dedication. I mean, you took this product and project from 12 years old. You kept refining, developing it, and I guess testing it, and all the way to when you're in your 20s.
Building a whole company around it.
So talk to us about how you built this company.
We formed the Paw Wash LLC, was the original company, and then...
Were you in college when you did that?
We formed it right after I actually got my patent. So the company had been around for a while, as in, for all legal terms and things like that, and owning a patent, but... I went through a lot of infringement cases, and I would win, but with the court system, you would still have to go back after your money because they admitted it, and then they wouldn't pay royalties, but then it became expensive legal battle. So eventually, if you even look online today, there's probably, I think there's up to 20 knockoffs.
Wow.
Have the money or the time to try to sue everybody. So it's and that's where the whole, I know it's kind of going off topic, the whole patent thing comes into play, whether it's important or not.
And that's actually right on topic, right? Because we talk about that with entrepreneurs all the time, that so many people we talk to are afraid that their idea is going to get stolen, and they think the patent's going to make sure that nobody does that. But like you said, you have to be able to fight those battles in court, and then you got to fight to actually get people to pay on the settlements.
Exactly. So it's you win, and then, okay, they're supposed to pay you X amount of money, and then they don't. And they're well, now you're going to have to pay us $10,000 more to get your money.
Right. Because most people think, they're not going to come after me, so I'm not going to worry about it. When did you get your patent? How old were you?
I was 15, so I was 12, so it took about 3 years.
Having gone through all that, would you still go about patenting it? Are you still patenting new ideas and new inventions, or is that something that you don't necessarily think is a crucial part of your business model?
I think it was a good idea at the time, but then timing is everything. And I think at that time, if I was able to patent my ideas and either have a larger company like I do today to promote them, but starting off, I think it would have been better to patent it and been able to partner with a bigger corporation that had to help. Because when it's something that can be copied, it just all depends on the place you are. Like if you're wanting to just invent things, patent them, and sell them, then I think that's great. Necessarily do I think I need
a different strategy, right?
Yeah.
Interesting. So the other thought, because we know some folks in common, we've got some amazing people in Kansas City doing entrepreneur support work, not unlike what Cheryl and I do here in St. Louis. But did you find yourself connected to the entrepreneurship community early on as a young inventor, or was that something that evolved over time? How did you get connected, or what did that look like for you?
Yeah, no, it definitely didn't happen early on. I didn't really know if there was anything around, and nowadays there's everything everywhere, and free classes, and it's wonderful now. Now is the ultimate time to be an entrepreneur. I think there's so many people that would like to mentor or help. But no, at the time I did not. It wasn't until after college I really started noticing there were networks, and then I really got connected with the Kauffman Foundation and Casey First-Link, and that's what kind of springboarded me into like, oh wow, this whole other world, and being able to meet people that maybe had businesses completely different than mine, like a restaurant, but are so relatable.
Yeah.
We all go through the same problems.
Absolutely. So, Katie, when did you actually put your business together, started growing it? How many employees do you have? Give us a little sense of your business
today.
So it's 2018, so actually a year. Wild Heart is now the company's name because I wanted to expand the line. So I wanted to have other things than the paw wash, and I didn't want to invent or create, let's say, a new type of collar and call it paw wash collar. I wanted a brand kind of like how Apple is to like iPhone or an iPad or something to put everything under. So that happened about a year and 4 months ago because I also gained partners, and a part of that was located in Leawood. It had a huge flood, and I was actually inventorying my product in the basement of here. And I mean, this is still like 40 feet from ground level, and I lost $90,000 worth of everything I owned.
Oh my gosh.
And none of it is covered under flood insurance, as I learned. They're like, if a tornado hit or a hurricane, you would have been fine. I'm like, oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So, like, well,
so let's call that a hurricane.
Lots of water.
So that was a turning point because I had no product. I wasn't able to salvage anything.
Wow.
And it was $90,000. So, and then to bring a new product to like $35,000, and that was going to have to be all out of pocket. So,
is that how you thought about bringing on partners?
Yes, I had to. I mean, there was no way I didn't have. I mean, this was my full-time job. Everything I put everything back into my company to grow it. And at this point, I was like, I did not know what to do. But I found through the Kauffman Foundation, I found these amazing partners, and where they're able to bring in another shipment and grow and working on expanding. So
they brought different skills to the table then.
Yeah. So as far as like employees, like I am full-time, and they're basically everybody. I have a bunch of part-time people that do like counting and the logistics, and I actually have a warehouse now in Kansas City, so I don't physically have to box every package up anymore.
Oh, that's great.
That was time-consuming.
Wow. So you learned some lessons, and then it seems like you expanded your skills by adding these different partners on that could help you grow your business. Yeah, and that's also scary. I know for small business, like you want to do everything because you're like, I can do it right. I know how to do it. Or even if you don't, you're like, I'll do it better. But then, and you're like, I don't have the money maybe to pay somebody to do but honestly, it's so much worth it. I mean, they're going to do it
better than you can do it, less time than you can do it, and you can focus more on what you're best at.
And less cost.
And on that note, we're going to take a quick break and come back and talk about what it is to grow your business, partners or otherwise.
That's right.
Yeah, definitely.
Purpose First Advisors is proud to support the Entrepreneurially Thinking podcast. Purpose First works with entrepreneurs and the organizations that support them to accelerate business formation, scaling, and transformational growth. For more information about how to work with Purpose First Advisors on business model validation, financial modeling, core messaging, or other growth and profitability strategies, visit purposefirstadvisors.com.
BioSTL is a proud founding sponsor of the Entrepreneurially Thinking podcast. We want you to know about all the great things they are up to, including the BioSTL STEM, Entrepreneur Inclusion Initiative, and Fundamentals program for early stage would-be entrepreneurs in the life sciences in St. Louis. You can learn more about all of BioSTL's programs by visiting biostl.org. And for your renewed and continuing support, BioSTL, we say thank you.
My name is Jared Arms, CEO and founder of Kyler.io, and entrepreneurially thinking means to me, do what you love and the money will follow.
So, Katie, you were talking about bringing on partners and all the trepidation that comes with that, but also all the benefits that come with that. How do you think having partners is going to help you grow? It clearly helped you get over the hump of losing a whole lot of inventory and being able to rebuild. But what's the growth plan for the company?
Right.
Yeah, the partners are a big help in the sense of where we get it manufactured. It is overseas in China, but one of my partners actually owns the factory it gets manufactured in, and one lives full-time in China and one's in China half the year.
Now, that's a strategic, great partner.
It is. So if I need to make changes or I have ideas of new products, I can get stamped where with my original product, it took years to get just the right product. And I can get it pretty much super speed, like hyper speed done, and then be able to get the prototypes a lot faster.
So how did you find this partner?
Through the Kaufman Foundation,
Wow.
actually. I was part of their entrepreneurship class.
Because that's a huge benefit. Not only Kaufman, but finding that partnership. That is a huge benefit, especially for them being in China. We've heard horror stories. I've heard horror stories from people who have tried to go over there, not have somebody who's from the country and try to navigate that. So, yeah.
Oh, this one's our third factory. So, yeah, we've changed a couple times for other reasons. But so, I mean, having the best quality products is kind of what I go off of right now, because it's quality over quantity. Because if you look at some of my competitors, I can make it out of a plastic that's cheap or something that's flimsy and not put it on the Amazon for $12 or sell it to you for $9. But that's not my goal. It's not high quality product.
Yeah. So what is your goal? What's the vision for Wild Heart? You said you expanded. What kind of products have you added to the line?
We debuted in global some of our collars and leashes. So I wanted some high quality collars with soft bands, and I have a crazy. I adopted a pit bull mix, and crazy in a good way. She's the sweetest.
Lots of energy.
Yeah, it's the energy. She's like this bundle of energy and joy. But I was like, I want a leash show that's more like this. So I started developing things that I like and I want and I would like for my pets. And then I was having people test them. So we're still in the phases of having people test them and see what they care, because for me, it's still my products, I want very high quality. And I do have other inventions, but it would be nice to get a bigger SKU and then be able to invent again and bring on, because it's just so costly to create molds and go about that again.
Yeah, you made a really good point. I mean, when we talk about SKUs or having essentially a variety of products in your portfolio, that gives you that many more opportunities to actually close a sale. So if I buy the Brushless Paw Wash, I keep wanting to make these poor little animals pawless. I don't know why. But then if Cheryl buys the collar or the lead, then there's a whole lot of opportunity to increase your revenue there. So really appreciate that insight into the strategy as well. Have you been out and seen people using your product with their animals, your leash or your other things?
Well, yeah, like the paw. Yeah, I've been out and about, and I've seen people use it. And well, my parents own like a construction company, and they've like gone in to give bids on houses and seen it in people's homes.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, that is.
We saw it.
That's awesome.
No, it's really cool.
That is very cool. I'm like, do you run up to them and say, I invented this?
Well, it's very weird. Like, sometimes I'll do events and I'll be talking about it and people don't know that and they'll be like, oh, are you just trying to sell me? I'm like, no, I invented it.
I really did.
I'm not trying to sell you on anything.
And it's not April Fool's. Yes, I did do it.
Yeah, I know, exactly. So, yeah, I know, but it's like, it's a humble, like, you don't want to be like in your face because that's not what matters. But then you're like, no, I really did. That's why I do it.
Humble brag.
Yeah.
So I definitely see a bias towards canines. Do you think you'll be expanding into felines, or is this really just a dog shop?
I wanted to, but for right now, we're focusing just on dogs. I have a cat. I love cats. I have cat inventions, actually, that I want to do.
Waiting in the wings for those SKUs to produce enough revenue so mama can invest.
That's what I want to do. That's what I love doing. I love inventing and creating. But yes, I have this awesome cat idea. I'd love to, would love to do, because, and I love cats too. Like, I'm an equal cat and dog lover. Like, I love my cat for the reason that I can put food in its bowl and head out and not to worry, but then I love the dog's love and jumpy and energy all the time, wanting to see you. So
that is a nice balance. I like having both that and energy in the house too. But
I do. It's like some days I'm a cat person. I'm like, okay, I just want to chill. Some days I'm a dog person.
Exactly. Some days I just want to ignore everybody and pretend like the world revolves around me.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I like to think that's a cat reflex, but it might just be me. I don't know.
That's a cat reflex. Yeah, I'm a dog person. Okay.
Yeah, she doesn't come over my house because she's like, does the cat still live there? Yep.
Yeah, I have friends like that.
It'll be 20 years before Cheryl comes over to my house because of the damn cat. But, whatever. I know she loves me. So she says.
I do.
But,
it's interesting. So have you thought about partnering with any of the larger like pet companies? Have you?
Or have they come a knocking, wanting to buy a piece of you now?
Yeah, I've talked to a few. That is something, I have thought about because, they have a lot more value in the market as in finances and being able to do things. And they have a whole legal team that can handle if somebody copies me, then I can go about that way. So that would be very interesting to, go about that way. Because I would be very interested in going that.
And do you see yourself staying in the pet space? I mean, as an inventor, do you have non-pet inventions you're eager to get out in the market?
Unfortunately, no. I'm just more of I'm sure if I thought about it, I could do human ones, but...
a human leash.
I know. My husband says he had one of the human leashes as a kid, so...
Oh, my gosh.
I've seen them in practice. I don't have any small humans of my own, but I understand that a leash could come in handy there. I've always said if you could create kids, I'd probably be a parent if you could create kids, but that's just not it. It's really frowned upon.
I was going to see that. Yeah, the Department of Children and Family Services.
I don't want to actually harm anyone. I just think it's a practical solution in some cases, but I digress. The other thing you've really hit upon from our perspective is just the ability to be resilient. So you've got all this creative energy. You're creating new inventions. You're being really strategic about how to go to market, generate revenue, and create new opportunities there. What does it mean for you, or how do you deal with and bounce back from the adversity? You talked about patents and patent infringement and losing all your inventory in that flood. What does resilience look like for you?
Yeah, that's a good one. It's hard. Definitely some days are easier than others. And I think having the right team behind you that supports you, for me, my family has always been there, and my husband, and now I have partners that believe in it and everything. But it definitely is not an easy feat to when you're like, well, now what do I do? And you feel very confused. And some days you're like, I have no idea what I should be focusing on because there's so many different things. And that's when having I've learned in class, each week, set up your week on I'm going to spend this much time towards marketing, this towards having the schedule definitely helps. But it's hard. It's not an easy thing at all. And
it sounds like you fell into true entrepreneurship. When you describe it, that is the life of an entrepreneur.
It is. And I mean, and knowing that also helps, I think, because like, I'm not alone. Like some people are just as lost as you are. Like I'll run into people, maybe I've had a really bad month and they're like, wow, you've been doing all this stuff. You're doing amazing. I'm like, oh, really? You know,
right.
Like, I was like, they're like, I see you all over like social media. And I think that's a big factor in our world, right? Like you can act like everything is going perfectly fine and it could be hard. Like I ran into somebody in my class a couple weeks ago and I was like, oh my gosh, you're opening up this the restaurant and like a third location and he's like, yeah, but perception isn't reality, you know, like it's not as good as it's all looking, you know? So I think when you compare yourself to other people, sometimes you're like, oh my gosh, and you feel underwhelmed, but everybody's having hard times, have months that are just awful, and you just have to figure out what's best for you and focus on your company, and then also just work with people who are like-minded. Oh,
that's a really good point. So what advice would you give to your younger self?
To my younger self, I would
starting this whole process, or to our people who might not be young in age, but
that next 12-year-old entrepreneur.
Yeah, but young in spirit. Yeah, what's that advice you would give them?
I would say don't make it as much of like kind of a hobby / a side. Even though you're 12, now there are, like I said, now's the time that there are so many mentors and groups and associations. I would say put full force into it right away. I think part of the problem with mine was timing. Like it was very, in the beginning, like we fully went in and then I kind of went to school and it was like a hobby and lackadaisy. And then I got, where it's like you just need to be very serious because people will try to like copy you and beat you to the gate or wait for your patent to end or people aren't going to just wait. Like it's kind of like the training aspect. Like you got to train harder, and put more into it in the beginning and really found better connections. But, you learn as you go.
It's interesting that you said, it's like training. When you think about our world, that's a good analogy. When you talk about entrepreneurship, and it's almost like the Olympics. You're training.
It is.
Yeah. You're getting your craft better. You're getting your product better for that ultimate time period that you launch and that you compete in the Olympics. So great analogy.
I was like, that's how I could think of it. I was like, I got to train harder because somebody else is going to wake up and do it harder than you.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate you sharing that. It sounds like getting connected with Kauffman Foundation, going through that class, finding like-minded people and being able to really connect into a community where you could let your hair down essentially and say, this isn't going quite as smoothly as you would think it is, or I know I'm making it look easy, but it's really, really hard. We find that a lot here in our community as well. I'm sure other entrepreneurs and wherever they're at find that when they can connect with people who speak their language, it matters and it really improves their own ability to perform.
And I was going to say also, I think what's interesting is you were smart enough to identify partners that you needed. That, you didn't just keep going it by yourself. Maybe it was because of the Great Flood that made you.
Yeah, I know the Great Flood.
A little biblical intervention never hurts.
Right.
I know, it doesn't. But yeah, that's exactly true.
You need messages from all sorts of places.
Exactly. That was a divine intervention to say, hey, you need some partners.
Exactly.
Very cool. Well, if folks want to buy your product and find out what else is in your product line, where can we find you?
So you can go to our website. It's just wildheartco.com, and you can click on the retail tab, and it will show a map. So you can type in your zip code and find what local stores, because I do love to support local as well.
Oh, good.
Carry you, so you can find it close by, and then if you can't, then you can click a link, and there are online companies that carry it as well.
Okay.
Fabulous. So you can go into
local.
A place let by you, buy local, and be able to touch and feel the product, or you can order it online, have it delivered, and get what you need that way too. I love that. That's fabulous. Well, we really appreciate you making time to be with us today to share your story, particularly to remind us that you can start at 12 and And whether you're first out of the gate and running hard and fast, or you take your time to build your business over time, there's lots of different ways to be an entrepreneur.
Entrepreneurships can be 12 or 82. Flip it around.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, Katie.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Changing the way you view new ventures, unlocking your creativity and innovation, igniting your thinking about entrepreneurship. It's Entrepreneurially Thinking. Get connected and discover more. Visit entrepreneuriallythinking.com to listen to all your favorite episodes and learn more about our guests, hosts, and sponsors. Feeling inspired? Be sure to share your thoughts, questions, and stories in the comments section. And don't forget to leave us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. The best way to show love is to share and subscribe. Let everybody know that you're entrepreneurially thinking.